Hello everyone, and welcome back to Really Tired Intro with the third or fourth attempt at this point, because I kept using the wrong words. And when I finally got it good, I got a phone call, which completely fucked up the record. So this is, of course, a video on Mask Evolution. So thank you to Nick, good old Dutch Nick, because you may notice that this is a British Light Anti-Gas Respirator Mark VI, made by Avon in April 1952, with a lightweight Mark III canister. How can he do that so fast? Size large, very lovely. It's as if he rehearsed it several times. With the waterproof Dutch bag and a canvas Dutch bag. How odd. Well, like I say, it's about evolution. You might be fooled into thinking this is the front, but here it is. We have the Dutch C3, also in large. See there? Large Baron 1988. Now I remember being told by someone on Reddit that large C3s were special order, which is why you can never find them, because you had to be given them specially, and it meant that they were in severely low demand. As it happens, that person's a fucking idiot and assumed. I'm just kidding, you're not an idiot, but it's like, I believed that for so long because it was the only info we had since Barack fucking nuked the wiki, that I just assumed it was true, and so I'm also guilty of the assume. We shouldn't assume. This one isn't in wonderful condition, and it needs a really good clean. I've had this thing in the woods several times. I've had a lot of things in the woods. Training filter, which is actually, if I remember correctly, based off the FM12, and interestingly enough, when it comes to training filters, the Dutch don't mess around. While the British use recycled filters, saying this filter expired, so now we get to use it for training. This was pre-made for training, and thus the entire thing is P3 and contains no charcoal, which is very interesting, at least according to Dutch sources. I probably should have double-checked with the man himself, Bowknife, but I didn't. Also with a spare front cover. Come on, focus, do your ting. Which I've started naming the aquarium air filter cover, because it does look like the kind of thing you'd find in an aquarium that filters air. And of course, it will work on a lag if I wanted it to, if I wanted to completely devalue such a wonderful item. Much like the C3 cover for the Danish and the Canadian variants. I've actually been offered a large Canadian Expo, I think it was, but the M/69, the Danish version of the C3 in large, from the lovely Tipsy, or Battler, I don't know which name he wants to go by, which I do intend to take him up on when I have time and funds. I shouldn't expect him to hold on to something for me, but why am I ranting about this? Now, this is not the original 60mm to 40mm adapter that was in the bag, because the original one was destroyed due to it being jammed in here, and we thought it was glued in. As it happens, it wasn't, and it broke, and when it broke, part of this snapped off, part of this frame came off. I was left with no choice, and I had to deconstruct the entire thing piece by fucking piece with a pair of pliers, and now it's sat in like a air rifle pellet tin up in my room. It's completely eradicated, which is why I don't like threading this on too much, in case it also gets stuck and follows the same fate. So I don't like to do it too tight. And of course, here is your lovely training filter. Wonderful. That's a sight. A few people who I know personally who've seen pictures of me wearing this thing out and about. Certainly probably sick of that red filter. And if I take off this finish adapter, inside the bag we have the big Chonka filter, which is basically like a 60mm version of the MCU 2P filter. Is Focus gonna like prioritize the shit that's in front of me rather than my fucking garden? Canister, C5. No, come on. Try again. There you go. RFT 91. Now you may notice that there's a rubber stopper in this, which the use doesn't actually stop at the rubber stopper. So pull that out. Oh, okay, great, there's that cap. Why couldn't we have just made a little cap like that one? Well, there's a reason for that, which is very interesting. I cannot get that to thread back on properly, and it's bugging me. So I plop this on. Oh, yeah, also. Thank you. Right. Given the way it's also not threading onto this mask very well, I'm guessing that the threads on this filter have been damaged, either in transit or Nick kicked it for me, saying, "Fuck you, Jack, why you're not sending my shit faster?" That's how Dutch people sound. How about I get back to you? Very temperamental filter in that it just doesn't seem to want to thread in properly, so I think it might be damaged. But I don't need it in properly to demonstrate this. Inside here we have, well, this particular one actually has a melted inlet valve. Stay out the way. As you can see there, it's completely melted. But there's also this rim inside. So if I push that down a bit... Oh no, I've opened up my filter, but there's still plenty of time left because there's not a huge thread. Well, I push in the cap that was on top of my filter into the mask. And it plugs it up from that side, assuming it's threaded in properly, which this one fucking isn't. And then I plug that back in. And now, my mask still has a field filter, my god. Still has a sealed filter without having to be completely taken off again. Which is really neat, actually. I really quite like that design. I think that's something that we should have carried over onto more designs, but of course the C3 really overstayed its welcome. So I'm not going to give it too much praise. Very difficult mask to disassemble, I should know. I disassembled it, I managed to get all this out. It took me ages to get this back on, so much so I had to completely misshape it. I had to flatten that out to get it back on, then while it was on, hold it down while completely trying to re-crimp it. And I don't have a crimping set, although they started selling them at Aldi, so maybe I should get some. So I had to use a pair of pliers, because the exhale valve was sticking. So I disassembled it, cleaned it up, and hey presto, it was working. It took a few days, and then it was back to being jammed again. Not fun. And apparently, according to Bowknife, or Collector NL, or I don't know, how many names does he have? Just Dutch. According to him, that's a problem they all have. And so one of the things I considered doing was actually taking the exhale valve out of it and replacing it with a lag exhale, which might just work, but it's more hassle than it really should be to try and get this thing out, and then get it all back aligned, and make sure your all nasal cup is on properly and also aligned. And here we've got C-111F. And on the inside here, you can see there's a hole for another inlet valve for some reason. See that 89, 1A CAV Baron 389381 large. No peripheral seal, and I've got to say, even though this mask is large, it actually fits me severely poorly, which is a big shame. Straps are in vaguely good condition, with what I believe to be the person's old name tag or number or whatever on here, which I've not bothered taking off. I've got to say, Baron rubber is disgustingly thick and very, actually, quite uncomfortable to wear. It really gives no give. This is completely solid, especially when you compare it to its predecessor, the Lag. And even this is World War II rubber, and even it has give. Even it stretches in ways it shouldn't. Still though, I suppose it's not entirely bad. However, while I say it doesn't fit me in the large, Lag mostly does. It has recently come to light that there are extra large and extra small Mark 6s and Mark 7 Lags. So it has become my job to obtain one of those now. My destiny. So moving on from the mask itself. Oh yeah, they also come with a triangle nose. This one is a bump nose, which is something. Threaded lenses, some people say that they're 60mm. These people are liars. Oh, if I can... That's what I mean. I think the threading on this is definitely damaged, because I can't even get the cap back on properly without it being off at an angle. As you can see there, it's not properly lined up. I'll probably have great difficulty getting it back off. So I pop that back in, and pop you back in. So this is the rubberized bag. Here's where your straps would have gone, which are actually on this one. and that's because it's got the rather annoying Dutch bag system, which they've kept around for far too long. I'm not sure if they still use it. This one goes around your left thigh, this one goes around your waist. It's not the worst thing, but it's also not the best. They did improve on it with the FM12 at least, and I'll probably get to show you that very soon. But if we have a look here, here's your little side pocket, which doesn't have much in it for me. It did have an Atom sign when I got it from Nick, but that's currently in my room. You got your decontamination tube here. Of course, instructions in Dutch. Damaged, actually. Big shame. It's nothing in there. And also the manual. Also, there you go, you got your signs. Atom, bio, and gas. Even though the Dutch one actually says Atom, double O, which is apparently pronounced Atom. And like I say, I've got one in my room, which is pretty cool. I might get Nick to get me another if he heads back there. I'll pay him. If you want to read this damn thing, then hey, feel free to buy the thing off me, because I might actually be putting this on the Bay of E, because it doesn't fit me very well. It's a big shame. Thankfully, C3s are in high demand in the UK, and seeing a kit is very uncommon. And I might well just get rid of the 60mm filter, since it doesn't seem to want to thread on anything. It didn't come with that. I actually got this separately through Nick. So the original one it came with was this. Still though, it's a size large, and you don't see those every day, which is why it attracted me. Big thank you to Nick, who went really hardcore on trying to find me one, and succeeded. It's just a shame that they don't fit properly. It was part of a big trade, our big first trade. And that, kids, is how I met the absolute deal driver that is Nick. In fact, I might skirt around here and demonstrate how the bag is worn, if I can slip this over my rather large waist. So as you can see, I've already got it on over my waist. I've got this on wrong, flip it around. Oh no, I need to tighten it. What a shame. So just give it a good old tighten. Of course, you're going to want it a lot more tight than that. That's just insulting. Keeping one of them. And there's your lovely little leg bit. Flicking that on. And there's your bag. And that's how it's worn. I might keep the fabric bag. I don't know. Nick, tell me through the echoes of time whether or not you have more of these. I'm rather fond of it as an Urbex bag, to be honest. The FM12 bag is one I've been using. And there's your big strap at the pull tab. The pull tab is not as big on the waterproof one, but your mask, put it on your face. So, still pretty interesting nonetheless. Now I just slip this thing off my ass. So there, Dutch C3. I'm rather fond of it.